something has clearly changed. I was speaking with Mr. Stephen Dow off air, and he said, Michael, my phone is ringing off the hook. And I said, boy, we got to talk about it. I need to know what's going on. So, Mr. Stephen Dow, what the heck is going on? First off, tell the audience why the phone is ringing off the hook. But of course, I almost forgot marketing plug. I wanted to talk shop, but we got to do that marketing thing.
No, you got excited. I was excited too. So again, although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel, that of my own. So yeah, I mean, me personally, since Monday morning, it has not stopped ringing. Either phone call, text, or email, but I'm getting a lot of inquiries, a lot more commercial as of late. But yeah, I don't know if it's maybe the optimism with the new administration coming in, or after a long 3-day weekend, there was a bunch of piled up people wanting to reach me. Who knows? But I'm not complaining.
Well, yeah, let's break this down a little bit, because it's actually interesting that you said a lot of commercial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are reaching out to you, they're actually talking about deals. These aren't just like, hey, tell me about what you got. What can you do for me?
No,
these are like
deals.
This is a deal.
Purchases, refis, like.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I don't really have any true details of maybe the reason behind it. I can only kind of guess, but it's been definite uptick this week. Like I said, could have been after a long 3-day weekend where people couldn't reach me, but coincidentally, right after got sworn in.
Yeah,
I don't know
what happened. So let's talk about deals, not refis. We'll talk about deals. I'm curious, when people are reaching out to you on these commercial deals, are we talking $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million? What are the kind of sizes?
It ranges. I mean, I've seen it as low as maybe like a 800, 900,000, and then as high as like 3.5.
Okay. So these are properties that they're not $100 million deals.
No. We don't play in that space, unfortunately. I wish, because larger loan amount, the larger my paycheck.
But, funny how that works.
Right. But I'm okay with the smaller balanced commercial. That's kind of our wheelhouse. We do very, very well at that. But nothing over $5 million for us.
Okay. All right. So that makes sense. So 3.5. It's really interesting, because one of the things that I think is happening in commercial is we're starting to see Class A stuff trade. Right. And again, every asset class is different, but I mean, Ken McElroy just did a deal right down the street from where I live in Henderson, and he got it for about 28-30% off previous purchase. So that's telling you stuff's retrading. I'm going to be really interested when Class B and Class C starts to retrade. So I'm curious, when you look at these deals, do they scream Class A, or are these Class B or Class C?
No, these are mainly Class B, Class C type commercial. Smaller retail or commercial space, maybe a strip mall, office building, office space, warehouses, self-storage, maybe like automotive repair, like a garage or body shop or something, but nothing like a major,
Yeah, because that's interesting, because when I've been telling my audience, I'm looking forward to doing some stuff at the end of 25, 26, because that's when I thought Class B and Class C would retrade. But maybe it's starting now. I mean,
it could. I mean, again, I think it's just so early in the year. We're not really getting the real indicators. You know what I mean? Like we'll probably know a little bit more in upcoming weeks, because then we'll kind of get a better idea of some of the factors that are motivating people to make some of these moves. I mean, it could be, again, optimism with the new administration. People are like, hey, I want to, maybe open up my company now. Maybe the environment's going to be more conducive to running, good business. Who knows? But yeah, I'm seeing it. It's just maybe coincidental. Maybe my specific brokers their borrowers are just, more active than others. But I've definitely seen it. I don't know about the A paper side, but on the non-QM, kind of the alternative products, a lot of my associates in the industry are seeing somewhat of an uptick as well. So as a company, we're definitely seeing it too.
Yeah, the other thing I think that's really interesting, kind of putting all this together, is we heard from Convoy Home Loans in December that some of the big players in the non-QM space were not going to play anymore.
Right. I remember you mentioned that on the DSR.
Yeah, they just pulled out.
Same thing. I had an uptick where people calling, hey, can you get a can you accept the transfer to appraisal? We had the loan initially with the other lender, but they changed their guidelines, or it fell out of DSCR or whatever the case is. So I had a lot of those last month.
Yeah, it would make perfect sense to me why Velocity is winning in this environment. Because again, it's really funny when everybody is lending, maybe Velocity doesn't get the share of the market they deserve, but when all the pretenders go away, being the make sense lender who only does what they does really is a good place to be.
Again, plan B, I say it all the time, when all else fails, call Uncle Steve,
Yeah.
it's playing out that way because again, we're not concerned with some of those other metrics that all the other lenders are concerned about. So we're mainly asset based for the most part, especially on the residential side. So yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
very grateful to
curious.
be where I'm at.
Last week we also talked about a follower, Steven, coincidentally enough, named, talking about doing 50, 40, 10s on multifamily. I'm curious,
Right?
did you get any phone calls or any interest off of that? Because I really think people need to realize that that's a great tool to have going
Oh
forward.
no, definitely. No. I had a nice conversation with Steven. We went over a lot of details. So now he's very, excited about being able to kind of apply some of that in the market and see how he can kind of come up with some transactions. And so he was just very excited to kind of. Oh, actually, he sent me one of his because he's got a little group himself, like a little
Yeah.
kind of like investment group. So yeah, he sent me one of his students as well. So we were kind of chit chatting a little bit about that too. It's more of a longer conversation because they have to try to understand it conceptually for them to be able to pitch it effectively. So not all of them have heard of that concept or are familiar with that. So it takes a little bit of time, but yeah, I'm getting a lot more calls about that because once they understand, how to structure it to some degree, then they can kind of just get have the conversation with the seller and then kind of figure out the numbers of what they're willing to carry, and then give me a call. We can figure out what the financing terms will be for my loan to kind of make up the gap, and then math, basically a few math equations that we got to figure out, and numbers don't lie, and then we can kind of see if it'll cash flow.
Yeah, the 50, 40, 10 is, I think, going to be a great tool for buying apartments in multifamily this year. Just so you know, I can hear you typing. the
I'm sorry, Mike.
the audience can hear it too.
Sorry. Okay.
That's right. Stop being busy.
Oh man, dude, I make food for myself, but I hardly ever get to like. I had a big bowl of pho this morning. I haven't even touched it because I just been like nonstop. So
That's
my
funny.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about 50, 40, 10s. We'll wrap this up. Again, it's something I think people need to realize. I
Mhm,
think a lot of people, especially if Class B and Class C start to retrade,
mhm.
there's like, hey, I can go get a DSCR loan.
Right.
It's gonna cost X.
Right.
I can go do seller financing, 90% seller financing. That's going to cost Y.
Right.
The 50, 40, 10 is powerful because it gives the seller more cash. You can create this blended interest rate, which is
Yep.
below DSCR,
Yep.
and, save on taxes, keep payments. It's just going to be that amazing tool, that Swiss Army knife.
No, agreed. And several people have already, contacted me, and we've gone over those details. So yeah, every time I have the opportunity to kind of explain it, it's always the same reaction, like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" And okay, let me start to kind of go out there and find the right motivated seller, and then have these, more meaningful, discussions. But it's out
It's
there.
coming.
A lot more people than we used to,
Yeah.
reach are aware of it now. So I actually
Yeah.
had a realtor reach out to me. I had a realtor reach out
Really?
to me. Yeah, who heard about it from one of their customers who said, "Hey, my client said that you guys had something like this," and I said, "Yeah, this is actually an option." And she
Yeah.
couldn't believe it at first either because she's like, "Huh? I don't know of
Huh?
any other." I said, "I know. I'm the only lender that allows that." So
Yeah. You're the only one.
yeah,
90% loan on a multifamily. Go buy a $3
yep,
million property with 10% down. Go
yep.
ahead. Go try it. Not many people can make that happen.
Nope, just
No.
us.
Yeah, there we go. So if somebody wanted to reach out, talk about this, see what's going on, it's just sdow@velocitymortgage.com, right?
Yes, please. That's usually the best. In the subject line, please put the acronym ORAAT. They try to make it past the firewall. Usually does. Every now and then it doesn't. And then I still, check into the quarantine section just to see what might have got stuck. In the body email, maybe brief description what you're looking for. Property address would be super helpful. At least city and state to make sure that I can lend there. Your mid FICO score and the best phone number to reach you at, and I'll typically be in touch within 24, 40 hours.
Awesome. Again, sdow@velocitymortgage.com. He also has a playlist on this channel where you can get a lot more deep dives on the 50, 40, 10.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
buddy. Take care.
Thanks, Mike. You too, man.
Mhm.